Hey y'all, you know who it is. So today we're going to do section 2, uh, part 2 of segment 5. So here we go, we're going to jump right in. Junyo thought about people he had killed in the past. He went to great lengths to ensure criminals were guilty of their crimes. In this way, he prevented himself from ever making a mistake. With logic, intelligence, evidence, and wisdom, one could traverse the right path. The more he lived, the more he realized his own emotional responses to certain experiences caused him to make mistakes. Letting his emotions take over during tense situations seemed justified at those times, but looking back on them, he gave a second thought to his actions. Leaving Atsuro, Daisuke, and Satoshi for dead, finding out they had been framed, and torturing Shinjiro were all actions that made him question the lives he'd taken over the years. He couldn't second guess himself. If he had taken one innocent life, he'd have to kill himself. Guinness gave him the impression that he would truly regret taking his biological mother's life, whether he saw her as his mother or not. Hugo wasn't without a few surprises himself. The amount he cared about strangers surprised Junyo. The Equalization War occurred many years ago. Nonetheless, animosity still existed between certain groups of people. In Lunastra, Solaresians received the most hostility. Junyo could see no reason for this other than Saleh might have been the country that started the war. No one quite knew for sure. Those negative feelings remained. More than anything, Hugo would catch him off guard with questions. He always asked apprehensively, as if he wanted to refrain from overstepping his bounds. Several times, Junyo declined answering Hugo's questions. Once in a while, he did. "How much did you change?" Hugo had asked him. They had stayed in an inn. He had spent most of the night entertaining young women who asked for his company. In the middle of the night, he went out on the balcony to enjoy the night sky. A crescent moon hanging overhead. Seeing Junyo out there, Hugo joined him. "Watching you have a good time made me wonder if Sam's death changed you a lot from the person you used to be," Hugo said. The question recalled memories of the past. "Akira, Takashi, and my mother would have you believe Sam's death changed me drastically," Junyo said. "Part of you asked me this question because you believe his death had a negative impact on me. Am I right?" "Not negative," Hugo said, shifting his glance off to the side. "I'm vastly different from when I was younger," Junyo said. "Sam's death was one of the catalysts. Others saw my change as negative. I never have." "Care to elaborate?" Hugo asked slowly. "Sam and I were a part of a group," Junyo said. "There were 3 others named Atsuro, Daisuke, and Satoshi. Atsuro and I grew up together, and we met the others playing on our football team. We became a great team because we were friends on and off the field." Hugo nodded his head, indicating to Junyo Hugo knew this story would not end well, but wanted to refrain from speaking and interrupting him. 3 years passed," Junyo said, "and we entered high school." Junyo turned around and leaned his back against the balcony rail. "Atsuro, Daisuke, and Satoshi started dating. I had to throw myself into my studies and school activities because my mother wanted me to get into the university of my choice. Isamu got involved in Gateran football. Not long after, life happened." He didn't say another word. Don't stop there, Hugo urged. What happened? Junyo had never told the story to anyone. He believed to talk about it, to tell it, meant he dwelled on it. At the same time, it was a part of his past and a part of him. He would tell the story, if only to let Hugo know he had grown to trust him. Near the end of our freshman year, rumors spread about Isamu, Junyo said, ones that Atsuro, Daisuke, and Satoshi didn't take well. Atsuro especially. We had no idea if they were true. Atsuro had a problem with people spreading lies. They became violent toward anyone who spread it. Back then, I was a bit of a peacekeeper, so I wanted to believe. And oblivious. Isamu ignored it, laughed it off, and told them to let it go. I didn't see the truth. I just tried to prevent trouble. I was so busy I hadn't realized Atsuro and I, or the team, had grown apart. The rumors were true, Hugo said. They were, Junyo said. I never really knew Isamu before this incident. He was just a part of the group. No one thought to ask, and when Atsuro did, the trouble I tried to prevent is what Sam and I got. I'm a bit lost, Hugo said. What was the rumor? What trouble came? How did all this change you? Junyo formed his hand into a firearm and shot a small bolt of lightning into the sky behind him. Sam had slept with a member of his Guitaran football team. Our 3 old friends fought Sam. I had to pick a side. We won the fight, but I'll admit now, we both lost. The decision I made troubled me for a moment, but I made the right one. He went silent, thinking. He nodded to himself. I lost faith in mankind. Junyo noticed Hugo about to object and try to explain like a Kuro before him, but he stopped him. Isamu kept quiet not for his sake, but for his friends. That brought its own trouble, but it worked out. Sam took everything in stride. I didn't. The reason I don't see it as a negative experience is because it forced my life into a new direction. That must have been about the time you left behind Peacekeeper and Oblivious, Hugo said. Junyo nodded. I want you to know I never thought you were some negative person, Hugo said. I might say you're a person with trust and anger issues, but everybody has something. If anything, I've never met a person like you. Your story explained a lot about you. An expression of curiosity came across Junyo's face. You only bother with people who you believe meet your standards of a decent human being, Hugo said. You're not sure you meet your own standards. For this reason, you try not to bother with people at all. But like I knew all along, deep down, you're a good guy. You've got a big heart. Interesting theory, Junyo said. He glanced at Hugo and noticed him with a smile that seemed to say it was no theory. It was a smile that said he was getting to know him better than Junyo thought possible. The thought of this made Junyo smile. Alright guys, that was part 2. Tomorrow I'm going to do part 3. Thanks for those who have been tuning in and listening. I hope it all makes sense and you're paying attention and all that good stuff. Until tomorrow, have a good night.